Planning for quality requirements in the project is the first step in quality management. The how part mentions approaches. We will be covering the approaches briefly, but before we get into the techniques related to quality planning, we need to spend a little time on quality requirements, which are gleaned from project requirements, one of the primary inputs to the quality planning process. There are two broad categories of requirements that we need to deal with as part of managing quality in a project context. The first category directly relates to the customer and comprises requirements related to the product or service that you are providing to the customer, as well as other project-related requirements such as timeliness, responsiveness, etc., which has a significant and direct impact on customer satisfaction. The second category relates to processes that help ensure internal organizational efficiency or effectiveness in meeting those customer needs. What are some of the product-related quality requirements? Where do you get these from? Very often the only explicitly stated product requirements are the functional requirements. You would be familiar with those and how those are taken care of as part of planning and scheduling. There are other requirements referred to as non-functional requirements or product quality characteristics, such as those relating to usability, maintainability of the product, reliability, product availability, performance-related requirements, and so on, that are very critical but often not explicitly defined or stated. You may find reference to some of these in some part of the product scope document, but for many others, you may need to speak to the customer and extract them based on who the users of the system are and how they are likely to use it for the business purpose. Process-related requirements are intended to ensure that processes that produce deliverables for the customer, such as the design process, review process, testing process, etc., are both effective and efficient. Effectiveness relates to whether the defined processes meet their intended purpose. For example, reviews are intended to reduce defects caught by testing, so effective reviews will reduce leakage into the testing phase. On the other hand, efficiency is related to optimum usage of resources to meet the desired intent or purpose. For example, you may spend 3 hours finding 2 critical defects in a review, while someone else or another project may spend double that time in finding the same number of critical defects. So you are more efficient when you spend less resources for the same objective. Hope you get the point. I'm sure you will appreciate that while both are important, focus on efficiency without effectiveness is not desirable. Process improvement requirements are part of an organization's quality policy related determination. Improving your productivity or defect removal efficiency over time is critical to stay competitive as well as to provide more value to your customer and your organization. Now that we have seen what quality requirements are and seen some examples of those, we will move into some of the techniques used as part of quality planning to meet those requirements. The first one relates to cost-benefit analysis. You may be familiar with this simple technique already. Any requirement such as a reliability requirement for a product could be met using different approaches or design strategies. The cost associated with each of those alternative approaches in terms of design and implementation needs to be balanced with the benefits they provide, for example, in terms of stakeholder satisfaction. You may even need to negotiate with the customer to tone down a specific requirement if you believe costs of implementing that requirement as stated now far outweigh the benefits based on your analysis. Benchmarking involves comparing actual or planned project practices or product characteristics to those of other projects to generate ideas for improvement and to provide a basis by which to measure performance. Benchmarking could be carried out with projects or products within or outside the performing organization. The next technique that we will look at is design of experiments. It is a quality planning technique that helps identify which variables have the most influence on the overall outcome of a process. It is a statistical method intended to investigate the influence of factors or input variables on characteristics of a product, process, or system. DOE has been primarily used in the auto industry to solve a number of design and manufacturing problems. However, it is rarely used in the software industry. It is not that there are no candidates for its use. For example, you have several issues or factors such as requirements volatility, technology or domain complexity, team skills, and so on that have impact on scope, cost, schedule, quality, etc. in a project, and some could be candidates for a DOE application. But it is probably the fear, uncertainty, or discomfort that we tend to associate with using statistical approaches that is responsible for its limited use in the software industry. Statistical sampling methods enable you to choose appropriate sample data using different sampling approaches such as random sampling, stratified sampling, systematic sampling, and so on, and use measurements obtained from the sample to draw inferences on the entire population. In software development, statistical sampling also is used to a very limited extent. One such use is to estimate overall code quality by choosing and reviewing a set of sample code. Another emerging area is statistical testing, where by using results from running a set of specific test scenarios, one can predict reliability of software about to be shipped. Statistical testing is quite common in the field of hardware, but very much in its infancy when it comes to software delivery, and may well take several years to become a reality.